Well, believe it or not, I found another 1970 Challenger, and this one is going up for sale right away. It's not really a project that I wanted. It came with a bunch of extra parts that'll help the 1971 Challenger build, as well as I'd just like to sell it and see it go somewhere that somebody can build something out of it. So we'll do just a quick walk around on this, and if you're at all interested in this car, you can email me at ryanbarsnessyt@gmail.com, and I'll put that in the description of the video as well. First things first, the front frame rails are actually super nice. And also a little backstory on this car. Somebody at some point was going to make it a drag car. That's why all of sheet metal is cut out, and I have a lot of the sheet metal for the car. I don't have the front inner fenders. I don't have the firewall. Somebody had gone through and cut the firewall out for whatever reason. And this car was probably a fairly rusty car, but it's really not as bad as a lot of them, because it's super common on a Challenger and a Cuda to all rust out here. But this is all original and all super nice metal, as well as the roof is all super nice and super clean. The door jambs are all nice. The rockers are just about perfect. But this car does have a fair amount of rusty areas. The torsion bar cross member will need some extensive repair, but it's really not bad. It's not bad around the socket for the torsion bar or anything like that. And same thing on the other side. And they did cut the floor out, and I do have the floor patches for this car, so that can go with the car. As well as I have these half quarter panels that can go with the car to replace the metal that was cut out. And they did, for some reason, cut the rear frame rails off. Like I say, I think it was going to be used as a drag car, so they were probably going to custom create their own back half. There is some rust on the lower half around where the window would go, so all of that would need to be replaced. Probably just replace this rear window filler panel. And this car is a 1970 L code car, which is 383 two-barrel car. I do have a 383 that could go with it. That's 1970, but it's not the numbers matching for it or anything. And I do have the dash, the VIN. It's got a clear title, and the numbers match. The number on the cowl and the number on the front match the VIN, so I know it's correct to the car. This was black interior car. I do have doors for the car. I also have fiberglass front fenders and a fiberglass hood, as well as I do have a grill for the car and a few other fiberglass parts that they were going to plan on using. I have fiberglass front and rear bumpers, and I do have the whole entire front suspension, as well as an 8 3/4 out of an E-body and the rear springs, if that's something that's wanted upon purchase of the car. And I've got everything down to the tail lights and the trim. I've got a fiberglass trunk lid. I've got some glass for the car and some other interior parts. So, like I said, this is a clear title car. This was a 383 two-barrel car. As you can see, there was some rust underneath the tail lights. That's pretty common overall. There's a little bit of rust in here, but not bad. And I'm more than happy to show anything that I can show, because I have no intention of misleading anybody as to the condition of the car. At some point in its life, somebody has gone through and you see this on the lower cowl area and up in the firewall, somebody has riveted some metal to the car, so that's something to be aware of. Like, somebody riveted this patch, but it's fairly solid overall, but it's something that you'd want to replace. Like, as you can see the backside where the rivets go through. But as far as the overall structure of the car, aside from the fact that obviously the rear frame rails are cut off, it's really solid all up here, and the A-pillars are all good. The cowl is all good on the top. The roof is good, as well as the inner rockers are all solid for the most part. But somebody will need to do some patching on the torsion bar crossmember, so that's to be considered. Like I say, this will be a good drag car, or it's definitely a worthy restoration for somebody that wants to do it. I can't tell you how many videos of restorations of Challengers I've seen that, no kidding, they roll in what looks like a $20,000-$30,000 car that's all running and driving. They tear it apart and they find chicken wire and Bondo and even wood screws, and you hear all the different horror stories. The benefit of this car is you can see everything and you know exactly what you're getting. So this car will be for sale very, very reasonably. Slight little differences depending on if you want the front fenders and hood, and if you want the doors, and if you want the deck lid, and if you want any of the interior stuff. Like I say, I do have the half floor pans for each side that'll go with the car. But anyways, I'm going to round up some of that stuff and continue the video on there, but I will see you guys. Just want to show you a few other things that could be purchased with this car or negotiated for, or you could just kind of buy it as is. Whatever each individual person would want is definitely in conversation as far as the sale of this car. So over here I've got everything from bucket of brackets that came with the car. I've got an 8 3/4 rear end. I got a rear frame rail that's nice. I've got this torsion bar crossmember that could be used for patches. I've got the 8 3/4 rear end. And in here I've got the original dash, as well as a 1970 383 block, a fiberglass hood with a scoop there that could be with it, as well as some other interior parts. I've got an entire set of door panels that could go with it as well. A fiberglass deck lid. It does have a corner broken off here, but that's repairable. A pair of fiberglass fenders. And these are decent quality. They're not perfect, and fiberglass parts rarely are perfect, but they're usable. Especially if you go the route of making a drag car out of this. But anyways, that's pretty much it. Like I say, this is a 383 car. I've got the front floor pan that goes here for it on both sides. I don't have any firewall patches for it. I don't have the wheelhouses for it. And I don't have the trunk pan for it. I have these half quarter panels that would go on here and make it look at least mostly correct, as well as some other patches here. I've got rear seat pans, under seat pan, step wells, And I've got most, if not all, of the trim, all of the drip rail, the rear window trim, the around the front window trim, as well as some other stuff here and there. I don't have much as far as under the hood stuff because it's not, it just didn't have much with it when I bought it. And it depends on what you want as far as parts. I mean, the car could be for sale as low as probably 3,500 hours or best offer, or if you get all the parts to go with it, could get up close to $5,000, depending on what you want and what you're looking to do with the car. And this does have clean title, so that's a bonus. No need to go through any difficult situations with that. But anyways, that's it for now. Once again, I'll leave the email that you can contact me in the description of the video. It's ryanbarsnesyt@gmail.com. But that's it for now. I'll see you guys in the next one.